All right, we got a couple things to get finished up on the sprayer, and then we got to get into the field. All right, I think we're all set. Dad's gonna load up the sprayer and he's headed out to spray the triticale. We're gonna spray that with a herbicide to kind of push back some of the weed pressure and also fertilizer. So this morning we're getting set up to do something that we only do once a year, and that is pump hog manure with the drag line. We generate a lot of manure here, and all of that manure is used as fertilizers for the crops that are grown in the several hundred acres that are around this farm. Today we are going to pump manure to the neighbor's farm, and they're going to inject it right into the ground. So right now they're working at laying out some of the hose. So what a drag line is basically an injection tool that puts the manure in the ground with a long extension cord all the way back to our hog barns. And that extension cord is the drag line, is the hose that we're pumping manure to. So it's really efficient because it's continuous, and it's a lot less soil compaction because you're only doing once over. So that's what we're doing today. Like I said, they're getting set up, stretching out the hoses here, and before long I think that they'll be ready to start pumping. So this is the tool that we use to inject the manure into the ground. So they're working out, stretching out the line here. There's a culvert under the road. We bring the line through. The llamas are coming out to watch. hog manure is an excellent fertilizer. If you see ground that gets hog manure next to ground that doesn't, there is visible difference in the crops. Last year, we had some ground across the road here, and some of the ground got hog manure, some didn't, and you could tell the difference in the corn. So right now they're draining the line. They're pumping air through the line to empty it out so they can reposition in the field and move to another spot. But as you can imagine, there's thousands of gallons of manure in this line, and so to move the line, we have to empty it out. So they put a small ball in the line, and then they pump air through the line to clean it out, and then they can move the line. So when you're reeling up your garden hose in the backyard, you use a little hose caddy. When you're reeling up 8-inch diameter drag line, you reel it up on a hose caddy that looks like this. Reeling it all up. All right, so I just got back here to the farm. As you can see, I'm not in my barn clothes, but the crew running the drag line is all finished up and they pulled out already. Today we pumped about 460,000 gallons of hog manure out across about 95 acres of farmland. We were injecting the manure into the ground, and I thought I'd just talk for a minute about that. There's lots of value in doing that. We talked about drag lining, and it's less compaction and more efficient because it's a continual flow process. But the benefits of injection are that we put the manure right in the ground, right where the plants can use it. So there's no potential for nutrient loss because it's on the surface. Normally, when we haul manure, we just put it on the surface and then we work it in before we plant. But injection puts it right into the ground, and it's a little bit of an expensive process, but that's the value of it, is that we hold the maximum amount of nutrients there ready for the plants to use. So like I said, hog manure is excellent fertilizer. It's high in nitrogen, but it actually contains all 13 essential nutrients for plant growth. However, it's important that those nutrients are applied in the right amount. So we pumped a lot of manure, over 460,000 gallons. But the way that we apply that is actually very, very calculated. So we prepare, this right here is our nutrient management plan. This whole binder contains all the calculations for how much manure we can apply on what ground, in what season, on what crops, is all planned out in here. And several things are taken into account when we're preparing those calculations. The first being soil samples. So we take samples of the dirt and we look at the nutrients that are existing in the dirt. We take samples of the manure and look at the nutrient value that's in the manure. We plan out which crops are grown on that property and how much nutrients they're going to use. We look at even the crops that were grown in the previous season and what nutrients might be left over from them. So it's a very calculated process to understand how much manure we can put on the ground so that we're feeding the plants with just enough so that they can flourish and do well, but not exceeding the nutrient value. I thought it was important for you guys to understand a little bit about all the work that goes into calculating how we apply manure, the hours of time and literally thousands of dollars that are spent in preparing a plan for how to apply nutrients. Once we prepare this plan is also approved by the Conservation District here in our state and is also approved by the Department of Environmental Protection. And in addition to approving this plan, we have annual reviews where the Conservation District and DEP come out to check on the way that we're doing things, to make sure that we're doing things correctly, that we're doing things according to the plan. So we invest a lot into how we manage the nutrients on our farm, how we apply manure, how we apply chemical fertilizer, and so that we can be stewarding the ground well, so that we can steward the environment well, and so we can feed our crops to maximize the yield. All right, so I'm gonna finish cleaning up here and shut down this other pump, and I think we're gonna call it a day here soon. So thanks for watching.